we are in a moment where we are in an era of transition. Okay, so as a research, we should know why and how should we embrace carbon accounting and circular economy. And today, myself, Dr. Kuntal Goswami, with my colleague, Dr. Jayant Keskar, will be giving a we'll try to give some information on that. So I'm is a so I in 2019 2018 I created the Australian Center for Sustainable Development Research and Innovation, a research institute. It's a brainchild of mine. Post my PhD was on sustainable development, sustainability accounting, and public policy. So I thought that how we can extend that on that. So if you go to this uh, portal in this website, you'll find lots of resources, conference resources, and publications, and all that. And my colleague, uh, Dr. Jayant Keskar, he ran an environmental based consultancy firm, and his expertise in circular economy centric services in waste management, water, energy management, and various other things. And most important thing, he gives lots of cost effective technological solution. That's the most important part. Okay, so there are lots of technologies, and he can provide lots of cost effective technologies, because whole sustainability is a multidimensional, where it is science, where it is accounting, where it is sociology. It's very difficult to say. It's a fluid area, so we need a lot partnership from different diverse background to work in this, and that is the fun of it. And that's why when you look at the sustainable development goal, it is not one particular goal. It is a 17 goals for which is encompassing the both the developed and the developing country. And those all 17 goals are nothing but are the 7 public policy issues across the world. Okay, and everybody is facing that. So I'm and partly academic, partly professionals. Okay, I run my, probably there will be very few accounting firm in Australia, other than Big Fours, Deloitte, KPMGs, and all that, who provide triple bottom line services like that. Sorry. So in my accounting firm, we also give, other than my research institute, I also have an accounting firm, accounting and business care. In that accounting firm, we provide all sorts of service, and Dr. Jayant provides, as I mentioned, a consultancy firm. Today we'll be today we'll be discussing about, from my side, the business strategy from the sustainability point of view, how we can embrace carbon accounting, circular economy model, and all that. And Dr. Jayant will focus on the strategy and to implementation part of circular economy and sustainability technologies. And as I mentioned, I also run an accounting firm. It's a normal accounting firm also, but in addition to that, we also give lots of strategic solutions, how to implement and align your organization with the different sustainability principles, frameworks, and carbon active consultancy. Probably very few accounting firm other than Big Four who can provide a holistic triple bottom line accounting services. So attaining sustainability is a contemporary global aspiration. Okay, now why this aspiration is growing? Because there is institutional changes happening. Okay, so since an academic, today in the morning I was teaching audit, and in the second half I was teaching sustainability, and now I'm giving this presentation. So accounting is not all about money in the present context. Accounting is a subject of measurement. So we measure both financial performance organization and non-financial performance of the organizations. Those non-financial performance, we very easily we can call it ESG or sustainability, as you call it. And why this is happening? Because it's a subject of measurement. So how accounting contributing into this field? Because we are subject of measurement. So if we say that I'm a good person, okay, now we have to measure it. So it's not that measure from your financial performance, how rich you are, but how socially good, responsible person. Everything measure is comes to sustainability. And why we're getting into this aspiration of sustainability? Because there's an institutional change is happening. One is United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, Paris Agreement, okay, which is first legally binding treaty for climate change, and now we all legally obliged obliged to make our planet not one or more than 1.5. We're already 1.1. Okay, so that is a very difficult task by 2030. So 2030 is a very important year for us. I definitely can very confidently say that we cannot keep 1.5 within 2030, but it's a great ask. But at least we have the right target in place. That is one thing. And in addition to that, as we are in the traditional accounting field, we are governed by accounting standard. In Australia, in the international standard, we have IFRS. In Australia, we have AASB, AASB accounting standard, but that is a statutory regulation. But we also coming up with a international accounting standard board. IFRS is making that international accounting standard board. If you Google, you find that it is coming under IFRS to make it one global standard for non-financial accounting. So that is coming very, that those are in the draft or the beta stage. So it is coming. And in addition to that, see, when you do business, it's all about capital. Okay. Now, what is happening is that nowadays a company gets, whether it's a private or a public limited company, because they show a projection of future projection, showing that future expectations, showing that if you give me capital, I'll make you rich, I'll make you wealthier, I'll make you, I'll create value, much more value. See, why a business exists? A business exists because it is value creation. We create value. Now, people who can create more value, they will get capital. But the question is that nowadays people are telling that not only you will create value from financial point of view, are you creating value from all the point of capitals? Okay, financial capital and non-financial capital. Okay, and now the capital source is also tied with your financial, non-financial performance, not only financial performance, non-financial performance. That's why the task force for climate related financial disclosures is coming into things. So capital flow in the market that is also tied up with the non-financial data. All these days were only with the financial data. Okay, so now that is thing. Okay, and then also natural related financial disclosure. So biodiversity, one is the climate change, carbon emission, how much emission. If you emit less, you are a good company, you'll get capital, or the cost of capital will be lower for you. Or if you are more coal producing or petroleum producing company, probably you will get a bit of a bidding, your capital, cost of capital in the market will be a little bit higher. Okay, or you have to buy more carbon credit to, and as a result, whatever we are calling as externalities all these days, those will be inside your balance sheet and the profit and loss account. And similarly, taxable for nature related financials. So now you can make a company, you can, and you, because of your impact, koala can die, Great Barrier Reef can die, already in the dying process, but it is nobody's asset. So a natural resource is nobody's asset. It's a public good. Great Barrier Reef is nobody's asset. As a result, in your balance sheet, those assets are not captured. Okay, but as you know, Harmon Dale is Dale's triangle is, and we are in the planet. Okay, in this, because of this blue planet, because of this ecology, because of the ecological better health of the ecology, that's why we are having able to make economic development. If the economic health, if the ecological health of this planet die, our economic activities will collapse within a day. Okay, so there is a triangle if you look at the Harmon-Dale's triangle. Okay, so ecology is the base of that. Or if you look at the donut economy, so there is we operate within the boundary of ecology. So ecological boundary is very important, whether we're doing economic production within the ecological boundary. At this point of time, natural environment is nowhere coming into the, still climate change people are talking, but biodiversity nobody talking about. There's any disclosures, if you look, biodiversity is the least or less priority. Okay, or no information. But many, especially in Australia, many of the companies, the Coles, Woolworths, and many other companies, West Farmer and all that, especially in Australia, is very agriculture dominated. Okay, now if the biodiversity is collapsed, the whole Australian economy will collapse. And if the bees stop producing pollination, we don't go and pollinate our plants and all our food crops. Bees are important, but at an alarming rate, the insects and bees are dying. If the bees and the insects die, our food will die, vanish. Okay, because we are not going to pollinate plants. Okay, it's the bees and the insects pollinate, but we are using so much of chemicals, high toxic chemicals. We know DDT. Now DDT is no more in use, but like that, very toxic chemicals as the plants and in the plants, insects and bees are dying at a great number, and many species are dying. Many species are getting endangered. Many plants are getting endangered. As a result, we are not giving information on biodiversity, but our business is very much dependent on biodiversity. If the biodiversity is there, then our economy will be a healthy economy. So to make, again, to tie, integrate this biodiversity, our impact on the biodiversity, Nestle is a great company, but a bulk of their production or their financial resources, financial performance is depend on biodiversity. So any company which is very much agro-based or food industry, they're very much interested, should be integrated with the biodiversity. Our wine industry, okay, is very much integrated on the nature. Okay, if the nature collapse, our wine industry will collapse. Okay, so that's why we have to integrate the capital flow with our impact on biodiversity. So task force on nature related financial disclosures is coming, and that will play an important role. So this sort of institutional changes forcing us to look in a different way how to internalize the externalities, and in the process of that, accounting is a subject of measurement. Accounting is playing a big role in that. So if you ask that why accounting in this sustainability, because accounting is a subject of measurement. So we are not only measure the financial performance of the company, we also have to measure the environmental and the social performance of the company, and that's why accounting is coming. In addition to this, of course, the pure science is coming. They will give lots of solutions. So how to align sustainability with the organization? So we have to align our company's organizational performance with the sustainable development goal, which is very macro level. At a micro level, we have to align with different sustainability frameworks like global reporting frameworks, value reporting foundations, which is formed out of integrated reporting and ASB. Okay, so many of these frameworks give the criteria how you became sustainability is aspiration, but the question is that how you're going to integrate. So for that reason, there are lots of criteria. You have to integrate your company and organization performance with that. Okay, and then as we talk about climate change, what is climate change? Climate change fundamentally is nothing but genie out of bottle. So carbon, which is everything is made of carbon. The diamond we are wearing during our marriage, that is also carbon. Coal is a carbon, and we are all made of carbon. And to be very crudely and very funny part of that, we are all stardust, because this carbon is, we are all from carbon. We as a human being also, we have a carbon content. But where this carbon is coming from? This carbon is coming from this supernova of a star. So when there is a supernova, the carbon is formed in the nuclear fusion of a star. And when the star at the end of its life burst, supernova, the carbon gets released into the universe, and that carbon get distributed across and we all form out of carbon. Okay, now carbon, when you talk about climate change, we always said that, okay, carbon dioxide. So carbon is not bad, carbon is good, but the issue is that carbon imbalance. So the problem is carbon imbalance, genie out of bottle. So we are more digging up coal and petroleum, whatever stored carbon is there underground, that we are releasing, and as a result we are making a greenhouse effect. Again, greenhouse effect say by the term or the concept is not bad, because of the greenhouse effect, what we call life on earth is there, but the happening is that there is a too much of greenhouse effect. There's a climate, just like a pressure cooker, the heat is get more trapped and getting heater, and ice melts at 0 degree. So for ice, 1 degree difference is a lot. Even for us, maybe not. For ice, will be that. And once more, those ice will be melted, and that will be that will. So Bangladesh, Maldives, Philippines, and many big countries, as we call it, will be underwater, and also there'll be more heat, more turbulence. And just giving an example, just when you put kettle into the uh, in our oven, in, in the beginning there is no turbulence. Then small bubbles. Then what happens? There's a huge bubbles. So that turbulence, heat creates a turbulence. So though more heat, more turbulence in the environment, and cyclone and hurricanes are nothing but some turbulence out of heat. Okay, low pressure and high pressure, and as it's going to happen much more turbulence, more economic disaster. And few years back, 1/3 of Pakistan was underwater. So you can understand how much disaster is happening in economic disaster, infrastructure is gone and all that. Again, you have to rebuild this. And you can make once or twice in your lifetime, you can sustain that sort of disaster. But if it is a regular basis, it will happen, economy will collapse. Okay, so something. So that's why and economic development and emission is a direct related. More you into the value chain of economic development, more carbon emission. So that's why the carbon emission started with the industrial revolution, as we call it. Okay, so now we are in a position, not only as an accountant we have to measure how much money or profit we are making, we also use that how much in the at the same time the profit creation mode, how much carbon we are emitting. So you're making lots of profit with lots of carbon, you're not a good company, so you will be punished, your cost of capital will be high. So in that way the economic model is trying to come. Now the question is that how you get into that. Okay, how you be a sustainably responsible company. So you have to reduce your emission, you have to increase your profit or keep your profit stable, but at the same time you have to reduce your emission. You have to adopt circular economy business model. So at present we are a linear economy. So dug up things, make things, and throw it, landfill. Okay, so people who are associated with our any local council, it's a nightmare situation for any local council where to throw our garbages. Okay, we just in the morning keep our things in a different green, red, those sort of bins, and we forget it. But it's a nightmare for any local government in Australia and throughout the world what to do with this garbage. Okay, so again, this garbage is not a garbage anymore, that's a resource. Okay, so many companies are making resource out of it. So instead of digging every day, how we can make another resource out of those waste. For us it is a waste, but if you think in another way, that is not a waste, that is a resource. Okay, so that is a economic business model we have to adopt. And again, it's not a very easy thing, it will go through that. And then we have to do measure and assess our environmental footprint and how to implement instead of waste management, wastewater uses, then detailed situation review, feasibility, pre-feasibility study, biomethane potential, waste to energy mapping, new sustainability technology, which Dr. Joyant is going to address. So at a strategic level, at a we have to adopt certain frameworks called GRI. One of that, where it is a catalyst. The main purpose of Global Reporting Initiative, this is a standard framework on sustainability. Okay, it is a catalyst for sustainable world. It multi-focus things. So in any accountant, we all know materiality. So materiality is a very fundamental concept of accounting. So we not disclose all the informations, but anything material information that should be disclosed to our investor, because investors want to know, is there any black hole in our financials. Okay, so material information is there. Now at present we are talking about the financial material information when do the profit and loss account and balance sheet and all that. But nowadays we are not only talking about the financial materiality, they're talking about that what is your material impact of environmental, social, economic. Even as we making this conference, as this webinar, we are making an impact because all of us using energy to communicate. Okay, as we using energy, somewhere down the line we're doing emission. Okay, energy consumption and emission is there. So this material, how much material is important, we have to say that what is the impact of our existence and operations. And in a disclosure point of view, we have to see that whether management making a conscious decision to change our approaches, economic, environmental performance of our company. And at the same time, there is something called integrated reporting, which has become a part of value reporting foundation, because there are also, so there are lots of frameworks out there looking at a different point of view, like GRI looking at a multi-stakeholder focused, integrated reporting looking at from the cap how the holistic information is given to the capital provider so they can make a right decision, informed decision to allocate capital to the best companies. And when you're talking about capital in from the in integrated reporting, it's a broad-based capital. Okay, so it's a financial capital, manufactured, intellectual, human, and social and natural capital, and they look the materiality from the value creation point of view. So at the end of the day, we're making profit. We're taking capital and we're making profit. So we increase the capital. Okay, capital plus the cost of capital, the people who provide so dividend or the interest, so for them capital is growing, so that is a value creation. Okay, so value creation not from the financial point of view, everywhere point of view. So you make a skilled labor, you're drawing from the society skilled labor, but in your company, since they are working in a toxic environment, after certain years they end up having tuberculosis. So you reducing the value in the society, the human resource, you are reducing the health also. That is not value creation, that is value destruction. So but if your company, you're taking uh, uh, training, and after working in your 5 years in your organization, they became a skilled labor in the labor market. Okay, that is value creation. So integrated reporting is want to see that company is supposed to create value, so you're value creating or value maintaining or value destruction. So if you, and any holistic point of view that they want to see. Okay, and then from America, the sustainability accounting standard board is created. They also very much uh, capital market, how sustainability information can be integrated with the capital market or the investors and all that, but they give much more uh, industry specific. Now we all have an impact. So if you are an accounting firm, you have a certain impact. If you are a airline company, you have certain impact. So in that way, you have different impact. Okay. Now, this impact, very sector specific information, they want to see from a sustainability point of view. That is a fundamental. Okay, and now comes to carbon accounting. Now, carbon accounting is another important part in the aspiration towards sustainability. So there are our any activity, any operation we are emitting, and that emission can be direct emission or indirect emission. So anything under the control of our organizations, if we emitting, those are called scope 1 emission, and anything indirect not within the control, so emission because of organizations demand for goods or service or due to both upstream and downstream value creation activities, those are indirect emission, those are called emission scope 2 or scope 3. So scope 2 is directly related to energy consumption, electricity and all that. Scope 3 are those consumption indirectly happening other than scope 2. So in the value chain, okay, so both upstream and, yeah, so in the procurement of other goods and services, raw material for your production process, and as you sell your product, somebody, so your finished product is somebody's raw material, so that person also creating energy. So indirectly you're part of creating more emission. Okay, so those sort of things. So so the question is that how to make an economic development without much emission or net neutral emission. You definitely, as you go into the economic model, you will create emission, you cannot do, but you have to offset also. You reduce and offset. Okay, so either you use technology that will reduce your emission level, efficiency, and at the same time there will be a residual emission you cannot do without anything. So if you have those residual emission, you have to do some offset, either through carbon storage or you buy goods in, or somebody somebody carbon neutral. Okay, you or doing things they're not at all emitting, they're positive carbon neutral, so you have to buy carbon that credit from them, and then in that way you're paying for your externalities, so that will neutralize the cost and that will neutralize your emission level. So understanding carbon offset is very important. So either you buy carbon credit, or you increase your carbon storage. Okay, and switching to renewable energy, development from conventional energy to development from conventional energy, and reducing fossil fuels, okay, consumption, avoiding deforestation, then how to capture highly potent greenhouse gas emission, methane, nitrogen oxide, like that. Okay, now the question is that how the carbon accounting can be done. So there is, it's a very new virgin area of accounting. So in that process you have to ascertain the inventory of emission. Okay, and then you have to identify the source of emission, and then you have to calculate the total emission in each category, whatever categories I'm showing. So every organization have some kind of falls in those source. These are your source of emission, every organization. Okay, this is a prescribed sources from the carbon active. So I'll come into carbon active as an organization. So you have to, how you understand your total emission, you have to activity level. Okay, so one have to find out individual organization specific information multiplied by equivalent CO2 equivalent factor in scope 1, scope 2. That is a given information by the carbon active organization. So, and then what you have to do is that those activity has a unit for accommodation. So accommodation is a, because when it comes to accounting, we convert everything into financial data. Okay, money is a, so we, so it's a accommodation. Generally we have room nights, so we can convert that room night into value of room night, or even the room nights, or cleaning material agents, whatever we buy, that can be converted into some kind of value. Again, certain items cannot be converted into a value. We have also physical quantity, and then we multiply with the carbon factor, CO2 emission equivalent factors. Okay, that is a given factor. So there is some kind of, again, this is not a absolutely pure science, it's a pseudoscience, but still it is getting better. So carbon active made some, through different research, and internationally this of research is that they made some kind of assumption or some kind of calculation that if you this much of economic activity you do, probably you will be doing a given amount of emission. Okay, so and all the different emission is converted into CO2, so equivalent carbon dioxide equivalent. Okay, because carbon dioxide equivalent, because carbon dioxide, and in the whole value chain of greenhouse gases, carbon, one unit of carbon dioxide is 1 unit of emission. Okay, so it is one, and other than many other emissions or greenhouse gases are inversely proportional. Okay, small quantity of methane can be much more efficient in greenhouse gas. Okay, so they are much more inverse relation. So, so now that's the way the carbon accounting can be done. But now, as we have ATO, Australian Tax Office, they ask you at the every financial year how much profit you have created, how much in taxable income, and based on that you have tax. Similarly, carbon accounting, so carbon active is an organization, they will collect all the information how much emissions you are doing, and they also tie up with through the ATO portal nowadays. So I am a carbon registered carbon active consultant other than a financial accountant. So I am, so if you come to me, I can calculate how much emission you are doing, and we can lodge your emission to the carbon active organization through ATO portals. And in that way, and once you do that, the government will be considering calling you a carbon active company. So you are a responsible company, and that can be used in your logo and all that. That will create some kind of brand value for your company. Okay, and that will give you some good status and reputation management for your company. So carbon active organization is created by Government of Australia under Department of Environment. And also it is important because at the end of the under Paris Agreement, Australia is also a signatory. So and Australia as a country also informed the Paris Agreement how much emission is happening. Now, at an individual level, if you do not give this information, government will also not be knowing that how much is the country's total emission. Okay, so at this point of time, this is a uh, voluntary arrangement. So if we want to be a responsible organization, then we should go and register ourselves, and we'll get that logo. And so there is a carbon certification process is there. So we have to calculate the greenhouse emissions, then the inventory, then reduce the emission, and then we have to we have to report it. Okay, so you have to report our emission just the way we lodge our tax to carbon active organization, and they will monitor it. Okay, and at the same time, in the process of transition towards sustainability, these are the tools. One is the carbon accounting is a tool, disclosure is a tool, and also moving towards circular economy, because as I mentioned, economic activity and carbon emission goes hand in hand. So, and resource consumption goes hand in hand. Okay, so circular economy, where we are moving out from the uh, linear economy, and to transit, we have to circular economy business model. We have to work on material consumption, renewable energy, water stewardship, biodiversity, social, cultural well-being, health and well-being value in the so as we operate, we create value. So we have to know in the business model what value is provided to whom, value creation, how is value provided, value capture, how does the company make money and capture other form of value. Okay, these are the normal business model. Now that concept is used in the circular economy business model. So in the process of transition towards circular economy, you can adopt any of this model, where classical lifelong yeah, where you can increase the durability of the product. So as you increase the durability of the product, see, as we know, what is asset? Asset is a resource that has a ownership and future economic benefit. Now, if you linger the future economic benefit, you will not go and throw it your asset in a landfill. Okay, so in that way, that will linger your wastage. Okay, so okay, another is a hybrid. So how we can do a repeat sell fast cycling consumer, combine the durability with the short-lived consumer thing. Okay, you can refill it sort of thing. So then access to product rather than the product. So instead of I think user pay, Uber or normal taxi model, I think it is a something access higher. And so instead of buying a car, you take a Uber nowadays. Okay, so when you recur, you access that. So at other, most of the time we all have SUVs nowadays. Many of us working from home now. Think how many times or how many hours in the whole day on a year we are using extensively to our car. Even if we come to our office, we keep 8 hours our car in our car park. So it is absolutely ideal. If it is possible that we use more Uber, we use our car when there is when we require, or use more public transport. Public transport also is something like that. Another is performance. So performance via diverse payment scheme, most widespread in the finance. So uh, product performance rather than product ownership. So many uh, companies are paying on the based on the performance, as long as you have the product, and then they take it back. Okay, and third party exploration, value left over product, again reselling, the how we can resell our end product. So in that way, you are not selling into the putting in the landfill. My waste is somebody's resource. So these are a certain way the value creation process can happen. Okay, and we have to transit towards the economic circular economy business model. So from there, I will ask Dr. Jayan to take over.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kuntal, for giving why it is important, the carbon accounting and different aspects of the carbon emissions as well. Now, as you will understand that this sort of circular economy and sustainable technology implementation, this comes under how it is implemented, which are the different solutions, technologies that can be utilized and it is related to every industry sector, not only to the agriculture or livestock or mining, but even to the different type of organizations such as the government organization, federal organizations, state government councils, local councils, regional bodies, etc. So typically, like when you're talking about the circular economical solutions, like what is more important is you basically have different aspects looking into it, and these different aspects basically include the resource recovery, reducing the operating cost, sustainability achievement, energy efficiency achievement, optimization of energy, capacity buildings, as well as achieving them sustainability development goals. So these are the different phases, when, or the facts, when you are really achieving different type of carbon emission reductions or the climate change activities as well. So let us look into specific sort of technologies or solutions like into the different sectors. So circular economy, resource recovery usually goes hand in hand, with the sustainability. And some people, like they say, there are 3R principles like reduce, reuse, and recycle. But nowadays, like a lot of people do add another 3 4 R, like they add regenerate, then revive, and those type of stuff as well. So this is an example wherein whatever water and wastewater that are energy uses that we have, how we can embed the circular economy principle in it. Now, as you know, water is an integral part for everything, whether it is the human consumption by residential complexes, or it is for the industry or for the agriculture sector as well. So with those activities, again, like you generate basically the wastewater, and there are different technological solutions available wherein all the wastewater that is being generated from industry, residual, agriculture, residential or agriculture sectors, that can very well be utilized in a best possible way to generate either energy or to recycle the water, to recycle the nutrients and everything. So end of the day, you will be able to derive different byproducts, like in terms of nutrient, which goes again back into the agriculture farm. You can get the clean water. There are a lot of clean water opportunities or projects that have been implemented all over the world. All of you may be aware, like Singapore is a classic example wherein they have really treated the sewage wastewater to the extent that it is used for the drinking purpose. And at the same time, a lot of new projects are coming up on generating bioenergy from either the biosolids or the wastewater or the agriculture farm, and etc. So all those things basically like form the community, like, sorry, circular economy principles as well. So typically, like anaerobic digestion of the biogas plant, typically, you generate different type of gases, which is mainly the methane and carbon dioxide. And the methane has got the calorific value that can be converted into either electricity. You can use it as such into the boiler to generate steam, or you can convert that into the bio CNG to run your the cars or the trucks or anything like that. At the same time, you are able to replace or generate some sort of digestate that can be utilized as a biofertilizer. So typically, the food waste and wastewater biosolids are used into into the biogas plant, which is in the anaerobic digestion process technology. But nowadays, emphasis is being again given on purpose-grown biomass, which are specifically from the agriculture sector. Most of the utility industries, they dispose of their treated wastewater either into the sea or the river. So what happens is, like, if you are able to generate or grow the biomass, required biomass, purpose grown biomass, and then put it back into the biogas plant, you will be able to generate electricity, and that will be able to reduce your fossil fuel straight away. There could be different technologies for waste management, like simple technology you might have seen for some of the livestock industries, like the dairy and piggeries, etc., where there is a covered lagoon technology, as you see in the right hand picture. So whatever waste water that you are generating, or the solid waste, semi-solid waste they are generating from the, piggery or dairy manure type of thing, you can add it into the lagoon and cover it with the, HDPE sheet, wherein, you get the biogas, and then you can use the biogas for either heating purpose or generating electricity. Wherever there is a possibility, like lot of locations, there are some big composting operations, windrows operation, as you see in the picture below. So they are like, they have the conventional method where they are adding some bacteria, putting it into the windrow, mixing it over a period of time, and within 6 to 8 weeks, you are able to get the composted material, which has got retaining all the nutrient in terms of NPK and other micronutrients. So it is also possible like to fortify this compost with high potassium or high nitrogen, and these type of different products are available in the market as well. Typically, like in most of the cases, the technologies that I discussed earlier, which are the biogas technologies and anaerobic digestion technologies or lagoon technologies, etc., composting technologies like bigger windrow type of thing, they are viable, economically viable when you have very large quantity of waste stream. But when you have a small quantity like 25 kilo or 50 kilo or one ton, then the biogas or these type of technologies that I mentioned earlier are not economically viable. So you need to look into the different technological solution wherein you will get the benefit out of that. And this particular technology that we have developed, some thermophilic bacteria, they grow at about 50-degree temperature. So what you need to do is, you can imagine if it is a aged care home, for example, or it is a restaurant food waste that you're getting from restaurant. You can imagine if you're getting the food waste from fruit and vegetable market or supermarket, who are transporting that 100 kilo waste every day to the landfill site. So there is an emission related to the diesel consumption as well as emissions from the landfill site. So what you can do is, you can have this machine on site, which is called rapid thermophilic composting machine. And then when you add the waste in it, the bacteria will start acting on that waste and convert that into the compost like material in just 24 hours. So you can imagine, like, you are transporting 100 kilo waste every day, paying somewhere about, $1,000, $2,000 a week to transport the waste. On top of that, on your company or organization, you have that another additional carbon emission as well. So this can become literally big zero when you are implementing this type of solution on site. So this will convert, as I say, like the food waste or organic waste into compost like material in 24 hours with about 90% conversion ratio. So for example, if you have 100 kilo machine, capacity machine, then with 100 kilo input, you get about 10 kilo output in 24 hours. So this is very fast. And then you can use it, the compost like material in the farm, in the garden, in the veggie patch, everywhere. So you can also involve community in that. And then that is going to be very, very helpful for not only the region, but also to the country as well. So obviously, like, for all these technologies, you get economic, environmental, social benefits in terms of reducing the transportation cost, as I discussed, generating biofuel in terms of biogas, which can use it in the electricity or any other purpose. Environmental benefit include reducing your carbon footprint or carbon emission, replacing the fossil fuel that will add, again, related to the carbon emission reduction. You are also like achieving sustainability by managing the organic waste on site. Social advantage, you can involve the community, industry, as well as you can generate some employment with this type of thing. So different industry sector, as you see here on the right hand side, the end users could be piggery, dairy, poultry, the councils, the resorts, the utility industry, aged care industry, the restaurants, everywhere, where there is an organic waste generation, you can utilize this type of stuff as well. Similarly, for the wastewater, again, there is a certain type of carbon emission factor, again, related to that. And I forgot to add it here, like, if you're talking about this type of food waste technologies, if you're diverting 1 ton of food waste every day, you are able to divert or reduce your 2 tons of carbon emissions straight away. So typically, as a thumb rule, like 1 ton of food waste is equivalent to 2 ton of carbon. So over a period of time, you can imagine, like, if you are able to reduce, substantial quantity of food waste from landfill, then you are able to reduce double the quantity of that material, the carbon emission as well. Coming back to the wastewater treatment technologies, again, wastewater, which is having very high organics, that can very well be utilized to generate biogas as well. And then gas can be utilized again in the boiler, for example, in dairy sector or brewery sector, or any type of fruit processing industry. Similarly, the municipal sewage wastewater treatment plant, whatever biosolids that you generate from that, you can use it in the biogas plant. Or if you really have the wastewater treatment plant, then instead of the typical conventional tank based wastewater treatment plant, you can have this in pipe technology, wherein all that wastewater is being treated into the pipe, and there is no any odor or any other sort of thing in generated from the wastewater treatment plant. So this is very compact. This require very less energy for the operation, so you are saving again your carbon emission. And then the water that you can get from here, you can pass through the further purification technologies to recycle back, and then thus you can achieve the circular economy in that. Similarly, a lot of large cities, they have the truck and car wash wastewater. So we have some sort of technologies wherein we know you can recycle that water and achieve circular economy as well as the resource recovery with these type of technologies. Again, there are certain technologies related to the solar power water circulation system, which will control, your blue-green algae problems in the ponds or the lakes. It will improve the drinking water quality as well as the water body cleaning and those things as well. So obviously, like, there are obvious advantage of the wastewater solutions wherein, you can achieve the resource recovery, you can replace the fuel, you can have the reducing the trade waste charges. Simultaneously, like, when you're talking about reducing the maintenance cost and other stuff, you are able to achieve sustainability and resource recovery with these type of different solutions that we have. And obviously, like, different industry sectors as well as the utility industry, they can utilize this thing even for the resorts, where they are away from the mainland and they're stuck up because of the land usage and the stuff. They can utilize this wastewater treatment plant as well on site, which will be more handy, which will be more compact and does not create any odor issues for the resort area as well. As you all are aware, plastic waste is another biggest problem, currently, and environmental challenge for everyone. So in 1950, you may be aware, like, there is only 2 million tons of plastic produced per year. And in 2015, we have got a staggering number of 419 million. Now it is, I think, maybe more than 500, 600 million tons of plastic produced per year, not per day, sorry. So obviously, like, 14 million tons of plastic ends up into the ocean, again, generating microplastics and those type of issues as well. So that's why, like, generating plastic waste is a big problem, and you have to deal with this plastic waste in a more methodical way, depending on where the plastic is utilized, what type of plastic is, being plastic waste is being generated. So this is a simple technology, which is a gasolysis technology, where you are converting the plastic into the fuel. And as you see, like, from 1 ton, you get about 50 to 70% of fuel, like diesel like material. Purity depend again on what type of plastic you have and contaminations you have. You also generate some gas, which you normally store it into, as you see in the photo here, the yellow color tank there. So pressurized tank, you can use this gas again for incoming plastic to burn, and you get the carbon sludge, that you can utilize, along with the road, mixed with the bitumen and those type of stuff. If this sort of technology is not really suitable for you, then you can have resource recovery type of plant, as you see here on the top, and then separate out the plastics and then make the plastic boards and those type of stuff as well. So woody biomass, similarly, like, you can go for biochar or syngas type of thing. From municipal solid waste, you can also have the RDF, which is a refuse derived fuel. material resource facilities will ensure that all these different type of waste is being segregated in the best possible way to achieve sustainability. So obviously with these also, like, you are able to reduce, your transportation cost, landfill is totally eliminated, all the diversion, that you will get from here. Employment generation, like, ESG or CSR, what you call it as in Asian countries, corporate social responsibility, they are being achieved. So different technologies have different byproducts, and the end users could be the council, the industries, regional associations, the local government, state government, federal government, resorts, etc. Looking into the energy related technologies, we have the thermoreflective coating, which is made in Japan. As you see, like, if you apply this on the rooftop of the building, then that will reduce your air conditioning bill by about 20 to 40%. Now, this is an example wherein they put it in Japan in a high peak summer. They were able to reduce somewhere about 40% reduction in their energy bill as well straight away. Similarly, like this type of steam turbines that we can provide for specific industry where they have the boiler, and typically like the boilers are used in the processing industry like meat processing or milk processing, dairy processing, industry sectors where they need high pressure steam 10 bar, and they require typically 2 to 4 bar into the process at the process side. So what they normally do is they put the pressure reducing valve there and then reduce that pressure of the steam. But what we propose is, you can take a bypass line from the high pressure line straight away, put it into our steam turbine, which will generate electricity, and then outlet of the steam turbine will give you about 2 to 4 bar. Quality of the steam will not at all be affected. And, usually like with the raw material that you have available, like which is high pressure steam, which is free of charge for the industry sector, you are able to generate some value out of that, which is up in terms of the electricity. So typically, like you get about 2 to 4 year payback with that, and with typical an example, 5 ton per hour steam, that high pressure steam you have, you are able to generate somewhere about 125 kilowatt electricity as well straight away. So obviously, advantage of these solutions that you get is, you can reduce your air conditioning bill, reduce the diesel fuel consumption. This thermoreflective coating, we have just taken a pilot plant we are running at Woolworth Distribution Center, wherein they have the refrigerated railway containers, which they transport the food from here to Darwin, which is about 3 day journey. And their diesel consumption is very high for that. So their carbon footprint also is very high. So they want to reduce their carbon emission, and this is our greenhouse gas emission. This is one of the ways wherein they will be able to reduce the diesel consumption and achieve sustainability in the long term. So those type of things can very well be used, and different industry sectors, organizations can utilize all those technologies as well.
Dr.
So having
Jayant,
said that, like sustainable development goals are, as I say, correlated with all this climate change and sustainability and circular economy. So different sectors, like different areas, government buildings, public places, government infrastructure, transportation, hospitals, schools, colleges, those type of areas very well can achieve or can implement these technologies, and then they will be helpful for them to reduce their overall carbon footprint as well. So I would like to give you an example, like how we think, out of the box. Like when I was being approached by one of the greenhouse growers here in Virginia, in Adelaide. And these guys, they have typical issue. As you see in the right hand picture top, like they utilize the plastic strange to grow the plant there. And after harvesting like 4 months for mini cucumber or 8 9 months for the tomato vines, so they get all the plant material with the plastic strange. What they do is they cut from the bottom and they throw it at the back of the organization, like their farm. So that particular material cannot be utilized for composting. No one can take it, no one can dump it because it is contaminated with the plastic. So what I did is, I did change the plastic strange with the compostable strange, took the trial for 4 months for the mini cucumber, wherein we estimated whether it can withstand the UV light, it can withstand the moisture, it can withstand the weight of the vegetable as well. So the trial went well for 3 consecutive times, we were able to use it. And then when we harvest it, then we can cut it and then put it back into this rapid composting machine, wherein you get the composted material which they mature for a couple of weeks and then utilize back into the farm. So this is a real circular economy achievement, and a sustainability achievement for these type of industry sectors as well. So depending on what industry you are in and what you are really looking for, we definitely can think of different options, technological options, which are more practical, which are more simple and more easy to implement. So here are some of the takeaway messages, like many sustainable development goals are addressing the core diverse climate change, as you know, and food, water security, health, biodiversity, environment is already impacted by the climate change, migration, as well as peace and security. We have to tackle it now and decide what sort of action plan we have, what sort of strategy we have to do all these things together. We can solve the problem. And we have to be aware of all those different technological solutions, like how we can make the product more sustainable, make the packaging more sustainable, and make a conscious effort again to choose the green brands as well. So that's why, like, investment into the circular economy, sustainable development will help address the climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emission and the building climate resilience. So those actions, whatever that we take on circular economy and sustainability, will drive the greenhouse gas emission reduction as well. While tackling this climate change, fostering sustainable development are two mutually reinforcing sides of the same coin. And that's like when implementing and success again will rely on the industries or organizations or the government's own sustainable development policy plans and the program. So here, like, if we can combine both the things together, how and why and how we have to achieve this sustainability, why carbon accounting is important, and go from there. So these type of things, I reckon, will give you some sort of idea what are the different technologies that can very well be implemented in different industry sectors in order to achieve sustainability, achieve circular economy, resource recovery, and those things as well. So I hope you get some idea about different technological solutions from here. And if you have any questions, we have come up, no problem. Thank you.